welcome to another episode of Mine Planning Matters, a podcast where we talk about where the industry gets it both right and wrong when it comes to mine planning and mining engineering. This podcast is not just for mine planners, it's for everyone who has anything to do with mine plans, from those who create them, to those who execute them, and all the way up to those who endorse or sign off on them. My name is Mark Bowater, Director and Founder of Australian mining consultancy Insignia Mining, and I speak from experience, having been involved in mine planning for over 30 years. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mine Planning Matters. It's been a while since I've recorded the last episode. I have been a bit busy, but no excuses. I just need to get back in and do it. Now, the other day, I caught up with a colleague of mine, Ben, that we catch up with regularly. I'll leave his last name out in case he wants to remain nameless. But we had a really good conversation, and one of the things that we talked about and that Ben pointed out to me, and I must admit I hadn't really thought about this before, was the whole issue of mining engineers and design versus scheduling, and the differences between design and scheduling. In mining, we use the word mine planning a lot to cover what I would actually call scheduling. I think of a mine plan as a design plus a schedule to make a plan. So if we separate into the words design and scheduling, and there is actually a distinct difference between design and scheduling that I've never really appreciated, and that is that, as engineers, we tend to think of engineering as an analytical bunch of people, and it's a fairly exact science. And so when you think about designs are a very exact science. Mine designs in particular have to be spot on. We have specifications that we have to design to, and surfaces that are part of the geological ore body or bench heights or whatever it is. But designs have to be accurate and they have to be spot on. Otherwise, we get things like geotechnical failures and we get wall failures or things. And so mine design is a very exact science. And that's obviously suited to mining engineers because that's how we tend to think. Now, then on the other hand, you get scheduling. And so I think when it comes to scheduling, we think of it as an exact science as well. And we would like to think that we are just as accurate at scheduling as we are at mine design. Albeit naively so, I think, because one of the things that the industry as a whole underestimates and undervalues is variability and uncertainty. And to be honest, we're not really comfortable with uncertainty, and I think engineers are uncomfortable with uncertainty. And so they'd like to think that their schedules are pretty accurate and represent what's going to happen out there pretty well. And mine schedules put a lot of work into their schedules to try and make sure that they are accurate. But the fact is they are never going to be. And so as a group, mine schedulers need to get uncomfortable with inaccuracy, with variability, and with uncertainty, because we are not going to create mine schedules that reflect exactly what's going to happen out there, regardless of how much effort and science we put into them, because there is just too much variability. The variability starts right at the beginning with the ore body, because if you think about the ore body, we try and model it to the best of our ability with spending the minimum amount of money that we can on exploration and other geophysicals that provide information to map the ore body. So we're starting with variability right from the beginning before we get into the numerous other sources of variability in the mining industry. And so with such a high degree of variability, and variability that we choose to introduce sometimes ourselves on a cost basis, scheduling is always going to be uncertain. It's always going to be variable. And so as a group of engineers, we actually have to get comfortable with that, because if we get comfortable with that, we can start communicating that to the people who execute the plan and to stakeholders, and we can maybe start that shift. Instead of talking in exact dates, like an exact science, like this is going to happen exactly as we've planned it, we can start talking to people in ranges and likelihoods instead of exact. Thanks for listening to Mine Planning Matters and my thoughts on mine planning. This podcast is for the benefit of the mining industry, and that's you. So I'd love to hear from you through the comments section, and please feel free to let me know any topics you'd like discussed in future episodes. You'll find much more content at our Insignia Mining website, and if you find any of our content valuable, please let your mining colleagues know so they can benefit as well.